One of the most gripping things that you write in the book, and you use this to introduce the book, is you say that perfectionism is the defining psychology of an economic system that's hell bent on overshooting human thresholds. It got me to wondering, how fast is perfectionism rising? Do you consider it to be a hidden epidemic?
So this was a quote in the prologue where I was really setting up the main thesis of the book. And look, that's a provocative statement, but it's deliberately provocative because what I wanted to orient readers from the very get-go is that this isn't going to be the classic self-help book that most perhaps would be expecting from someone writing about perfectionism. This is going to be way broader than that. It's going to interrogate the source of those feelings of not being good enough, not being perfect enough. And if you really want to get at the root of why most of us feel, at least to a certain extent, like we struggle to matter, like we need to be more, we have to do more, have more, show more, is because that's the way our economy works. We have to continually grow at all times, not just ourselves, but also the economy through expansion of consumption, through more work to service the debt that services the consumption. And we all live on this hamster wheel of ever increasing demands that are placed on both ourselves and, by the way, the planet, which is why we're exceeding certain thresholds right now and seeing all sorts of climate breakdown, biodiversity loss, and all the rest of it. This is really the source of those feelings, and that's why I wanted to set the book up really in those terms from the get-go. I think that's really important to say because as the book progresses, one of the key take homes is really that this is not your fault in that respect. If we can wrap our heads around the idea that this is the way we're supposed to feel, that these feelings is in some way systemic, that they actually the driver of economic activity, which has grown developed economies to the stage that they are now, with lots of abundance, lots of prosperity. And by the way, that's not a bad thing. We've made some extraordinary progress and we live, on the most part, comfortable lives because of it. So all that perfectionism, all that angst, all that anxiety has brought us to a point of economic development. There's no doubt about that. But nevertheless, we have to reckon with the reality, the cost of that success, so to speak, is an ever expanding economy that is going to continually weigh on our sense of insecurity. And that in that sense, these feelings aren't really our fault. The reason we can't snap out of it is not because there's something wrong with us, but that actually there are broader context to these feelings. So I think that helps us understand, first of all, what our perfectionism is and why it works in the way it does. And it takes a lot of personal power off our inability to break through it. Because if we put all the personal accountability on ourselves and try to smash through our perfectionism and still find it doesn't work, then we're going to be even more critical on ourselves. Of why don't these things work? Why can't we break through? So I think that's really the main message of the book, that this perfectionism that you feel, most and a lot of us feel, is not your fault. It's in many ways part and parcel of being part of a sort of a growth, what I've called a growth at all cost economic system. And at some point, and this is where the book really reaches its conclusion, at some point we're going to have to reckon with the fact that continuing to grow, continuing to push ourselves on this exponential trajectory upwards might not necessarily be in our best interests, and certainly perhaps not in the planet's best interest either. So that's really where it ends. And that's why I wanted to start up front with that statement.